something that goes against all odds. I want to tell you a quick story before I introduce somebody very special. The very first time I was in shul was 1990 during Yom Kippur. In Kiev, there was a shul, and in the shul, you were not allowed to attend seriously unless you were 65 or older. Otherwise, the KGB would grab you. That was the first year that the Soviet Union almost fell apart, and there was some freedom. And a young rabbi by the name of Rabbi Yaakov Blai, from a place far away called Bora Park, moved down to Ukraine with his entire family. He had small children. I think his oldest was 4 at the time. And he had a mission to ignite Judaism in a place which has been barren already for 70 years. And my family and I went to shul for Yom Kippur. It was the first time. And these little blind kids are running around and making noise. This old man gets up on the bima, claps, and he says, "Children must be quiet during services." And you know what these little American kids did? They said, "Na na 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 na." And he said, "If you're not going to be quiet, I'm going to take a stick and hit you." So they got the idea. And another old man gets up and he says, "Are you crazy? We have not heard a child's voice here for 50 years. Children, please make as much noise as possible." That does not go for this ceremony. But to have you guys here receive Sidurim, coming from a background where nobody would have dreamed this would happen, is a miracle. And for such miracles, we have to do something special. So I want to introduce somebody that is a tremendous role model to me, somebody that brought me to Staten Island, and somebody that is so special and is literally responsible for thousands and thousands of Jewish children and adults knowing what it means to be Jewish. Rabbi Siegel. He's also Rosh Limbaugh.
Good morning. How is everybody today? We all excited?
Yes.
Why are we excited?
I'm going to the having a scavenger ceremony.
Really?
Yes, we do have a cake. My mom ordered it.
You have a cake? Your mom ordered it?
Yes.
Can I have a piece later?
Yes.
If I could have everyone's attention. First of all, I want to tell you that the person really responsible for this school and really for the community of Heartland Village, which maybe some of you live in, is a gentleman sitting in the back here by the name of Mr. Paul Trink, who over 30 years ago worked day and night to help the Jewish community develop. And because of him, Heartland Village became a reality, and many other things in Staten Island, including this school. So he deserves a tremendous amount of thanks. And you've given him the thanks already simply by being here. But you and your family, Mr. Trink, should only have good health and lots of sympathy. You know, there was a time, Rabbi Ushansky just mentioned it, there was a time when Jews in the Soviet Union couldn't go to synagogue. They didn't even know what the inside of the synagogue looked like. And if they went, it was dangerous. They could be arrested, and they could lose their jobs, and they could be thrown out of their schools. So many problems they would face. But there was a city called Lemberg, I think they also call it Lvov, which is in the Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. And all of a sudden, in I think 1989, when communism started to fall, they gave the Jewish people back the synagogue that they used to daven in Lemberg. It wasn't a shul anymore, it became a warehouse. It was a warehouse. It was an amazing thing. When they gave it back, it was close to Rosh Hashanah. And hundreds and thousands of Jews started to come into the synagogue. They were allowed to come into a house of God, and they started to come in. And it was Rosh Hashanah. And there was a 20-year-old rabbi by the name of Rabbi Walpin that came from America to do the services. And he gets up Rosh Hashanah, and what do we do on Rosh Hashanah different than every other day? What do we do on Rosh Hashanah?
Dip the apple in honey.
You dip the apple in honey, that's great, but don't we blow something?
The shofar.
We blow the shofar, right? So they got up Rosh Hashanah, and they were back to blow the shofar. And an old man, maybe the same old man that Rabbi Yashansky was talking about, the old man says, Rabbi, in the old days, 50 years ago, we used to have a speech before we blew the shofar. And a young man got up in his 20s and said, I don't even know what a shofar is. So what are you talking speeches and everything else? What are we talking about? And he said, Rabbi, I don't even know how to read. So what are we doing? What is this? He didn't even know which way to open it up. Because he didn't know Aleph Beis. So the rabbi says to himself, what am I supposed to say? They don't even know anything. All of a sudden he remembered a famous story that happened to Reb Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev. There was a farmer, and the farmer came into Shul Yom Kippur. And he saw everybody davening, and he saw people crying because it was Yom Kippur and closing their eyes and saying words, and he didn't know anything. So you know what he said? He said, God, do me a favor. I don't know how to pray. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to yell out the Aleph Beis. And you take the letters, God, and you put them together any way you want. And you make the words that I'm supposed to be saying that I don't know how to say. I'm just going to say the letters. And the farmer sat in the back, and while everybody was davening, he yells out, Aleph, Beis. What's after Beis? Gimel, Daled, Vav,
Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Chaf, Chaf Sofit, Mem, Mem Sofit, Nun Sofit, Samech, Ayin, Pei, Fei Sofit, Zayin, Zayin Sofit,
And that's what he did. He yelled out the Aleph Beis. That's all he did. That was his davening. After the prayers were over, the rabbi calls him up and says, "Did you tell me what happened?" And he said, "I didn't know the words. So I yelled out the letters and I told God, you put all the letters together." And the rabbi told him, "It's because of you and the thoughts that were in your heart that God accepted the prayers of everybody in this synagogue." And that's what the rabbi in Lemberg said. He said, you know what? A lot of people here don't know the Aleph Beis. They don't know what the shofar is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lead you in the Aleph Beis. And we're all going to say the Aleph Beis. And we're going to ask God to take the letters that we say, put them all together, and form the words that God wants to form. And that's what they did in Lemberg in 1989. The rabbi stood up and he went Aleph, and everybody yelled out Aleph, and he went through the Aleph. And that's what happened in the synagogue after the Jews were not allowed in there for who knows how many years. The parents that are here today, I want to tell you something. You don't have to worry about it. You just saw your children say the Aleph Beis. Your children don't have to say to God, you put together the words, because they're about to get something that's as special as anything. Because it's a funny thing. We all pray. We all pray. We may not pray in synagogues. We may not pray this. We may not pray. We all pray. God, make sure I'm healthy. God, make sure I'm not late for the meeting. God, please, I'll behave if you let me do this. Even the bank robber, he stands outside the bank and says, God, please don't let me get caught. He's praying. He's praying. It's unbelievable. Everybody prays, each in our own way. But the Jewish people from the four corners of the earth, we have one thing in common, the Siddur, the prayer book. And this prayer book put together all the letters of the Aleph Beis into the proper words that we're supposed to say. From the Moda Ani in the morning when you wake up, to the Shema at night when you go to sleep. This prayer book is a gift that your children will have for the rest of their life. And no matter where they go and what they do, it's not a question of how involved they are, it's a simple thing. They will always know how to put the words together, to thank God, to ask God, to pray to God, to be involved with God. And with God's help, they will only grow up to make you very, very proud of them. Proud as Jews, proud as whatever fields they go into. And God should bless you for the courage that you all have to send to a beautiful school like this. This is a very special place. Rabbi Ushansky is a very, very special person. I was in the zoo over Passover. I'm in the zoo. Did anybody remember seeing me? And one of the boys there says, I see you're wearing a yarmulke. I said, yes. He goes, in my school, they all wear yarmulkes too. I said, whose school? So they told me, Staten Island Academy. So the mother said, we are so blessed because our children are involved with Rabbi Ushansky. When you get this siddur, you make sure you write your names in it. You make sure you have a special place in your house for it. And most important, never be afraid to use it. Because you know what this is? This is the way we speak to God. And they're such beautiful children. And God should bless you all that you should have much knowledge from them. Thank you.
Thank you.